surprised how you feel about me. Truly trusted your plan, finally rested in your hand. Then I might understand how you feel. How you feel. Accepting the fact that I am just who I am. This is who I am. I am your creation. I'm so focused on these failures and my frailties. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. It is Monday. It is September the 9th. And so that means we have what? 3 days. We have 3 days until the Covering Women's Conference, which is this Thursday, September the 12th. Woohoo! I want to thank everyone who is already registered, whether you are registering for the free evening services on Thursday and Friday, or if you have registered for both the Friday Marketplace and Mingle as well as Saturday's breakout sessions. Thank you so much for registering. However, if you have only registered for Thursday and Friday, you do not get the full benefit of the conference. Friday from 11 until 2, we have the Marketplace and Mingle, where we will have vendors who will have all of the things. So some really good shopping, and then mingling with some of your fellow sisters, girlfriends. And you will also have an opportunity for those who did not know or who are interested. Dr. Diane Johnson is also going to do a breakout session called So You Want to Start a Nonprofit. She is actually the person who helped me to get the covering into a approved for 501c3. So she is a absolutely successful entrepreneur and has had multiple nonprofits and have run them. She's run them superbly. And so she is definitely someone, if anyone had to teach this workshop, she is qualified to do it. So if you've ever been interested in starting your 501c3, you need to make sure that you are there on Friday. And so her session is actually at 1 o'clock, I believe. And then Saturday, we have been talking about this. We have 3 different breakout sessions. So from 10 until 3, all of the women who have paid for the full conference, meaning you have a paid ticket, you paid either the early bird registration or you paid the full amount, you will have access to these Saturday breakout sessions. And again, that Friday Marketplace and Mingle. Now, the good thing about Friday is you know that you're coming and you don't have any other workshops to choose other than the nonprofit one, which again, you need to be there. The cost for the conference is sufficient enough just for that one-on-one training and teaching that you're going to get from Dr. Johnson. But you also have the opportunity to come on Saturday. And these are the breakout sessions that many people keep saying, we just can't choose. Now, I am going to out myself because I was the host. I was able to secure where I wanted to be in relation to these breakout sessions. So because I'm selfish, I put myself at the beginning of the day because I wanted to try to go to all the rest of the sessions. So, yep. But people keep saying, I don't know which session to choose. So we thought that it would be a great idea for to bring some of these Saturday breakout session speakers on so that those who are registered can get a firsthand understanding, hear from the speakers themselves, so that you can have uh, a better way to decide which session you want to attend. So we started last week. Of course, we started with my sister-in-law, Ashley Wood. Then we went to Apostle Dana Blue, as well as Pastor Brittany Major and Charisma Kennedy, who talked about covering the armor bearers. We are continuing tonight. We have two more dynamic Saturday breakout session speakers. Both of them I love tremendously. And they are actually both on the last breakout session, breakout number 3. So I'm not saying that tonight is going to make your choice easier. I'm not. So I don't know. Maybe you'll just run from class to class. Who knows? But at least you'll know. You'll be more informed on what session you will be participating. So first and foremost, I want to bring up prophetess Tiffany Boles. Tiffany M. Boles, Monique Boles. My best, my best. And she just look at her. Listen, if nothing else, you need to go to her class just to look at
Oh,
lips,
let's not do that.
hair, all the things. Um, Tiff and I, for those who do not know, Prophetess Tiffany and I became friends, not because we knew one another initially, but because she knew my husband before we were actually when we were dating. And so they were Tiff and her ex-husband were the first people from the church who I met from Pilgrim, which is Mount Rise. But they were the first people who I met. And so Tiff and I became just, that's my best. So Tiff is actually, Prophetess Tiffany is actually going to facilitate a workshop that I asked her to do because I think that she is well capable. Well capable. If anybody's got to do it, I want her to do it. And it is called Help. Just help.
Just help.
So, my pastor, my leader is a visionary. How to support the vision when you cannot see it. Um, and so so many people were like, I need that class. I need that class. I need that class. And so she is more than capable and qualified to be able to facilitate this class. And so um, I'm grateful for your yes. I am thankful that you took on that big responsibility because, again, I know that you can do it and you can do it well. So, in addition to that session, I am going to bring up my other sister girlfriend, Minister Carmika Leland. Woo! I am so thankful. I am so thankful. Minister Carmika and I have been good friends even before I even met my husband. We were friends. We go all the way back to Choice Point. Um, and so over 20 years ago, because my husband and I have been married for 21 years. So Tiff and I have been friends clearly over 21 years. And then Minister Carmika and I have been friends for at least 25? Goodness gracious, Jesus Father.
I know
Don't
it.
we age well? Don't we age well?
Yes,
Things be looking like these.
evening.
Listen, I am so happy. And Minister Carmika, I am thankful. I know I reached out to you and I said, hey, I believe that the Lord has given me this women's conference and I really want you to be a part. And you had a women's conference several years ago and you shared with me that you wanted to have an opportunity to continue that and your voice needs to be heard And I am thankful for your yes. You are facilitating a workshop called Let It Go. Um, and goodness gracious, don't we just all need to? Because I think, don't we all need to? Because I think, and of course, I'm going to let each of you talk on your sessions, but I'm going to say just, I'm going to share how I received and would be um just I'm thankful to be able to be a recipient of the poor for both of you. And I'm going to share one. I talked Prophetess Tiffany, that even though my husband, he's my husband, he is also my pastor. And believe you me, anyone who is married to a visionary, or anyone who is in any kind of workplace, or they're following any type of leader, there will be times when you don't understand the vision, but you are called to follow it. And so as you know, my husband, I love him. You know, as a pastor, sometimes I just don't get it. I don't know where we going. And same thing, you know, as a husband, like, I don't get it. I don't know what you're doing. You are a visionary. I don't know how we can afford these things. I don't see what you see. So I'm thankful to be able to receive the pour from someone else. Same thing, Minister Carmika, that I think there are so many times in my life that I have held on to the wrong thing too long. Even if it's the right thing, if I've held on to it at the wrong season, it can produce a significant trauma in my, because I didn't let it go. Because I'm holding on to one, I can hold on to where God was and not where he is in my life. So I hold him hostage to what he did in that previous season and not understanding where he is. So I'm stuck whining because I held on to something that he's moved on, but I'm still stuck somewhere else. And I could have held on to relationships that were just meant to be a certain season. But I'm holding on to the hope that, you know, it'll be better. And I'm holding on to what I believe is a better tomorrow, when he may not have called me to walk in my tomorrow with that same person. So there are things that I have held on to too long, and so that have caused detriment and caused me to, I think, arrive at my destination later than I probably should have. And I spent too long somewhere. So I'm thankful to be a participant. Although, yeah, like I'm a host, I am also an attendee and I'm a registrant here. And I want to have the same experience because I need to be better. I need to be all that God is calling me to be individually as a woman. So I am thankful and I am ready to come to everybody's little session with just, I'm ready to just pour it. So I'm going to start with you, Prophetess Tiffany. If you can share kind of what the covering meant to you, means to you, and then also give the people a little bit of what they can expect if they come to your session. And then Minister Carmika, you will be next. So 1, 2, 3, go.
Well, first, let me just say I'm excited to be here. So thank you. And thank you for telling me to do this. I'm happy.
You've been
Didn't you?
voluntold.
Just told me that I need to do this, but I'm grateful to be here. I'm really excited. I was thinking earlier today, and I'm really excited about the conference. For one, I'm excited for you, and I'm going to get to what you asked me to, but I'm excited for you to be able to see your vision come to pass. That's a major thing, especially when you love somebody. And I know your labor of it all. So I'm really excited where I know God is going to take you, what he's already done and what's going to unfold. I'm grateful for all of the women that are coming. A lot of times we have women conferences, but we don't always teach or minister to the leader in women. We don't talk about that, but there are many aspects of leading when it comes to women. So I'm excited when I think about the covering, I think about Psalms 91. Those who dwell in the secret place of the Most High. That's what really, really comes to me, shall abide under the shadow. Sometimes we don't understand that we are under the shadow of God, that he is really covering us when we're going through situations. Things are happening in our life because we're so busy helping somebody else or being there for somebody else that we don't understand that we need to be covered too. especially if you are in any leadership capacity. You need somebody to pour back into you.
Yep.
A lot of times I always give the analogy, the first thing that they say on the plane is to put the oxygen mask on yourself first,
Right.
because you can't effectively help anybody else if you yourself need it. And a lot of times we are pouring from an empty glass when we need to be replenished.
Right.
So I'm just excited about all of the Marys that's going to meet Elizabeth, that's going to help them to birth, and help the covering, and cover them even in the seasons where they don't know they need to be covered. Sometimes you don't even know you need to be covered. You just out here uncovered, right?
Uncovered.
So I'm excited about that. And my session again is help. It should have just been labeled help.
Help.
Just help.
Just help.
Just help.
Help.
I just need help. Like
just help. Just help. That's in and of itself. That's all. Just help.
Just help. That's all I got left. I don't even have any other words. Just help.
Just help.
But it speaks to not only that your pastor is a visionary. Sometimes we work with visionaries. We help visionaries. You talked about your husband, even if it's not him being your pastor as a visionary, just him leading you and leading your family, and you don't understand where you're going. My pastor says this all the time: a visionary has the enormity of the task of leading the temporarily blind.
Jesus.
And so, because as people, we see they will tell us they start at A and they get to Z. They don't give us the B to Y.
No.
And that's what becomes frustrating. How do I get from A to Z? And a lot of times we become frustrated because we don't see ourselves in the vision, or how we'll be able to do the vision or make the vision come to pass. But as an effective leader, you will be able to say, help. So first you got to be able to assess where you are. Assess that I need help, that I am not the person that will be able to get us there, but I'm the person that can delegate, assign, and see the vision to pass. You also have to have certain attributes when it comes to working the vision. We talk about the vision. We always talk about Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision, right? And make it plain that those who read it may run with it. So we got to make sure that you're not just a runner. Sometimes we take off before we get to the part of reading and effectively knowing how we're going to get from point A to point B.
Jesus.
But you also have certain attributes that you have to have. First, you have to know the visionary. You have to know the vision. You have to be passionate and committed to the vision and the visionary. Then you have to have a prayer life. You have to. Because if not, you become extremely frustrated.
Right.
There's no detail. But that's not the visionary's fault, right? Because they just have the vision. It's your job as the runner to fill in the in-between, all of the details. How are we going to get there?
Wow.
And that is why you have to have a prayer life, so you can say, God, what is next? What is step 1? What is step 2? What is step 3? You have to also know how the visionary communicates. That's when you become frustrated.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to give you the details. They don't have the capacity to give you. They have the capacity to tell you we can do it. And you're like, we don't have the money. We don't have the people. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And especially if you are a runner, most runners, again, are detail oriented, right? So we need to know, we analyze the situation. The math is not mathing for us. It just doesn't make sense. But you have to, again, be committed to the vision and the visionary. And if you listen keenly to what God is saying, he'll teach you how to first communicate with the visionary, so you get what you need in order to run with the vision. And I'm going to be quiet, but there's so many things. I'm really excited about it. Again, it doesn't have to be just your pastor. If you're working with any type of leader in leadership, it can become extremely frustrating. It can become big. And here's the other thing. You have to know it's not your vision. That's where you get stuck, because it's not your vision.
Good God.
You can't get, because it's not going to come out the way you want it to come out, because God did not give it to you.
Wow.
He gave you the ability to carry the vision.
That's so good.
not to have the vision.
That's so
But
good.
he can, he will equip you to make sure that the vision comes to pass. And if
Mm,
you walk in what God has ordained for you to do, he will also show you, it will become so good to you at a point of intercession that you'll hear vision before the visionary hears vision.
mm.
God will give you strategy on how. He'll tell you who to help implement,
Oh, that's
and
good.
you won't get frustrated in the process. So I'm excited, and I can't wait till Saturday.
Oh, that's so good. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to go back to some of the things you said in a few minutes. But, Minister Carmika, you probably know a lot about this too, because you have very strong leaders and very strong leaders who are also visionaries who you have been with since you were a teenager. Bishop Jonathan and Pastor Tony Alvarado, who are very strong leaders and extremely um, extremely I would say gifted in their ability to be visionaries. So I don't think that this is something unfamiliar to you as well, but I want you to go ahead and jump in, tap in, and I want you to go from there.
Well, first of all, I like the idea about running back and forth between the classes. I think I might say something there, running there, and then because that's some really good stuff. I'm really excited too. Pastor Kelly, thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to join you guys. It means so much to me to see how much you've grown and how far you've come. And I'm bringing up the rear. I'm right there, kind of beside you. So this is really exciting to see, all that God is doing through us. And who knew back then when we were just doing background checks at point and laughing at stuff that probably wasn't even funny. But thank God he decided to still use us. So the conference that I did back in 2018, right, kind of before COVID hit, is called Let It Go. It was originally geared toward women, because I just felt like, oh, I'm a woman, my ministry is to women. And God had to try to kind of slow me down where that was concerned, because while it was geared toward women, then, as you go, things evolve and they change. And God adds another part or adds another piece. So you can never get comfortable, right? Where God is concerned, because he's a visionary. Right. He's always moving. There's always moving pieces. You're like, okay, we're going over here now. We're going over here. So, again, it started with just women. And the essence of it is the woman that carries the child. Sometimes you carry it for 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. My children stayed in there 10 months and they was not trying to go nowhere. Sometimes it's the same emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. There's this thing that's lodged inside, and there sometimes has to be this inductive method of delivery. Sometimes, for somebody, it may have been a divorce that came to shake you up to know that it was time to push this thing out. It may have been a new job. It may have been a move, whatever it may have been. There comes a time when it's time for you to get this thing out, whether it's a book, whether it's ministry, whatever it may be. It could be something that you're holding on to that was not so good that you need to let go. But then there may be something that needs to be birthed that we're all waiting for, that we are, the earth is groaning and moaning for us, the sons of God, to be able to present these things that we all need. And so that's just what Let It Go is. I remember when I first did it, I was in a conference with some people who had been conferencing, some women who had been conferencing. And one of the headliners was like, let it go. Like, what is that? Let what go? And I was like, oh, okay. So I need to, work my way through that. But I didn't change that based upon that. But I did that kind of relationship, or that kind of the way she related to me, was something that I wanted to include in the conference, because how many times do you hear women talk about what other women have going on, or, down it instead of supporting it, that type of thing, or the whole, I don't deal with women, that kind of thing. Well, you're a woman, so you do deal with a woman every day. So, there are some things that we have to let go. that we have to let go of. We hold on to stuff from how many of y'all got clothes in your closet that you can't wear no more?
Listen.
Why?
Don't talk about me. Don't talk about me.
Why?
Listen. Jesus.
Now you will never be a 2T again. You are a 2X.
Not a 2T.
And let that 2T go and make some room for the 2X.
That's it.
It's where you are. Then it's where you are. You know what I mean? And God does not, he feels voids. He doesn't feel something that is already have something taking up space there. He takes the empty place and he feels that. But the problem is maybe you can relate to, as soon as we clean up or move something and get rid of something, we look at the space and say, I need something right there. No, you don't. Yeah. Sometimes you just need space for God to be able to be God in your life.
That's good.
That's good.
Sometimes you just need to be able to have space because we cram stuff, we put stuff. I need to take another class and I need to do this or it's always something.
That's so good.
Sometimes you just need to sit down somewhere and let some things go. Like I said, whether that's birthing it out, whether that's, like you said, relationships or friendships that were for one season or whatever. Yeah. I remember I had someone who was the way my job is set up, there are sets of elevators, right? And elevator came, she took off running. Ma'am, you about to be admitted because you're about to hurt yourself trying to stop something from going when there's another one coming.
That's good.
That's good.
Getting ready to hurt yourself. Holding on to a door that's closing when there's another one opening right there.
That's good.
And so that's often how we are. So let it go. It opens up so many different ways or so many different routes. We talk about trauma.
Yep.
Because it's real. People use it so loosely nowadays. Oh, my job didn't let me off for my vacation. Now I'm traumatized. So, what I mean? Everything is trauma now. But when you go through things, some of the things that I went through that prompted this as well as I had suicide to come through my family more than one time.
Yeah.
And so I'm a woman of faith. My children have grown up in the church. It was something that, affected them, affected me. On our way to church, we prayed. And then the next day we were in therapy because that's the other thing. We want to speak in tongues and slide and slip all over the floor about everything. And that's not the most holistic way to deal with it. Now, don't get me wrong. There were some things that faith did that therapy didn't. But there's some tools that therapy gave me.
Yep.
That helped me not to be sitting on the front row twitching and crazy because you do know that leaders, women, again, we're always carrying everybody else. We carry the pastor, we carry the children, we carry until you hit a brick wall.
That's right.
And your glass is crooked side one of your ear, and then you realize that I'm losing it too.
Yeah. This is so good. I'm going to tell you something that God shared with me. This is really how the title of the conference came about. And I don't know if I shared it with you all, but the title of the conference came about due to the covering of the tent of the tabernacle. God took me to that in Exodus, and he he had me look at the tabernacle and the covering that is on the tabernacle. And so I'm going to talk about that a little bit on Thursday when I speak. But one of the things that he talked about, and I'm telling you, this thing hit my heart. So, and the two of you have just confirmed this. When you look at the kind of outer courts of the tabernacle, you see the laver where the priests used to wash their hand, and then you see the altar of sacrifice. Those are two vessels, because one of the things that God said to me, that's how I knew that the women of God were on God's heart, because he said the covering is where I cover the vessels. The vessels in the house need to be covered. Now, here's when you look at the tabernacle, those two instruments, the laver where you wash your hands and the altar, they're not under the covering. But I said, well, what are those objects in the tabernacle? What do they represent as women? And he said, well, if you look at it, most of the time we as we as women, we're usually washing other women. We're washing everybody else in the water of the word. We're washing we're washing one another with either prayer. We're doing all of that. We're washing them constantly. Then you look at the altar of sacrifice, and he said, you look at women, and many of us are sacrificing so much. We're sacrificing for our children. We're sacrificing for our spouses. We're sacrificing for probably like our jobs. We're sacrificing for others who we're caring for, whether they be children or otherwise loved ones. Like we're constantly giving of ourselves. And then we become so exhausted. Just like you said, Prophetess Tiffany, we've given out so much to the outer court because we've washed everyone else. And we have then labored and sacrificed ourselves for so many others, and yet we are not covered. And it's the innermost part of the tabernacle where the covering comes. And one of the things that I found when I was looking up in Strong's Concordance about the covering is in Numbers 19 and 15. And it says, every open vessel which has no covering bound upon it is unclean. So how many of us have been open vessels and being poured out but have no covering? And I think that's the scary part, is sometimes many of us are out here, and Apostle Dana talked about it last Thursday, is that some of us are out here, and because we're gifted, or we believe that God has called us somewhere, and we believe our gifting is greater than a covering. And so we're out here pouring, but the Bible says, again, going back in Numbers 19 and 15, every open vessel that has no covering upon it is unclean. And we can be pouring out of an unclean vessel because we have no one who is overseeing us, who is evaluating our pour, who is telling us when we need to sit down because we pour too much. And many of us, again, I remember, both of you know this, when my husband and I think I was pregnant for the first time, and I was supposed to be 10 weeks, but I knew something was wrong. And I learned when I went to have an ultrasound because I started bleeding. And then the sonographer said, your baby stopped developing at 7 weeks. You've just been holding on to the fetus on the inside. And because it has not your body hasn't released it or let it go. Now what I have to do is I have got to give you some kind of medication or another aid to make your body open up and release what now is dead, is not productive. And so if you continue to hold on to it, it's now going to create sickness in your body because your body needs to release it. And one of the things that the doctor said after I had the DNC, because my body wouldn't let that dead thing go, it was holding on to what even though it stopped developing, even though it had stopped. It was not developing anymore. Just like some of our relationships, been there, holding on to something that is dead and has not developed, but hoping beyond hope that maybe one day it'll move again.
Right.
But I remember after the DNC, the doctor, I went to my follow-up, and he said, you know what? I need your body to rest for at least 6 weeks. Same thing that you're saying, Minister Carmika. Sometimes, of course, I was like, well, I want to try again because the pain of the void of what was not there was so great that I needed something to replace it. Even if my body couldn't hold it, I just wanted, the pain was so great, the loss was so great that even if it was not productive and would cause me more pain, I wanted prematurely, before my body would be ready to replace that void in my life. And I remember the doctor saying, you have got to allow your body to rest, because if not, it won't be able to hold on. You won't have the strength to hold on to what else is planted in there. And so just like you said, Minister Carmika, sometimes, I love that you said that, sometimes we look at the empty places in our life and we're like, oh, I got rid of all this stuff, so now I can replace it. And what if God said, no, I don't want you to replace it, that space. Let's look at what I can then replace it with later.
Sure.
Give me time to work in it. Prophetess Tiffany, jump in.
I just, when you were talking about the poor, and what we don't say, like you said, we want to fill up, like Minister Carmika said, when you're pouring, you're also emptying a space.
Mm,
And if we're not careful and we don't have the covering to
mhm.
make sure that we'll get trash or pollution in the places that we just poured from. And so we got to be very careful that our pour doesn't become polluted. And then
That's
now we have a polluted pour.
that's
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you also have
mm,
the covering for that main reason alone, that it doesn't become a polluted pour. So we're out here
mm.
pouring, ministering, singing, prophesying, and the whole time our pour is still polluted.
Oh, that's so good.
Know when we needed to be covered, and we
You
didn't
do.
know when we needed to let it go, but also save space for God to fill us back up. So I'm just excited. I'm just
I
excited.
am.
I'm trying not to go there with y'all, but God is good, and we got to be careful that we don't have that polluted space. That space is not left empty and uncovered at the same time.
Oh, that's so good. I think that's why it's so important that when we move, sometimes God takes us from one place to another, that we sit down before we jump right back into wanting to be used, to be poured out again, because we need to make sure and assess that which we are pouring out, one, is healthy and would provide nourishment and
Yeah,
not detriment to someone else.
yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
That is it exactly. I just wanted to mention something when you talked about the covering and what it meant to you. When I thought about it, I thought about, women coming together. And again, how I talked about how it can be in ministry. The truth of the matter is that sometimes it's this competition where
mhm,
we're all serving the same God, trying to offer him to people who need him. That's the
mhm,
bottom line. But when I thought about that, I thought about over
mhm,
in Genesis when God established a covenant uh, with Noah to establish the covenant, and how Noah was at a weak place. He had gotten drunk.
mhm,
He was at a weak place. He wasn't himself. He
mhm,
wasn't talking like himself, acting like himself, thinking like himself. And if we were to be honest, even though we got license, I got two licenses.
mhm,
Sometimes I'm out of my head. I had a situation that hit me just this week, and I start freaking out like I don't know who sits on the throne. But that's just real. And so these are
mhm,
those times when we come together, to be able to synergize and learn and,
mhm,
be filled again,
mhm.
through each other's
Yeah.
ministry. But I think about the son that went and told the other sons
Mhm.
that I don't know their names, Pastor Kelly. You probably can pronounce them better than me. But
Never.
he's drunk. And one
Mhm,
of the sons goes, he's
mhm.
going to broadcast it.
Right.
So, Pastor Kelly, the movement ain't doing so well, or,
Mhm,
Carmika ain't doing so well. He's going to broadcast it. But
mhm.
when the other two sons hear it, they back into the tent where he
Yeah.
is with the covering. They
That's it.
wouldn't even look at him like that,
Right.
because I'm not going to see you like that. I'm going to see you how God called you to be.
Yeah.
Back into the tent, and they covered his nakedness.
Mhm.
yes,
And
Yes.
so that is what I'm hoping, that some relationships
Mhm.
like that will come out of this weekend. Because
Woo.
sometimes I need for you not to look, don't even look.
yeah,
It's pretty messed up, but
Right.
just cover me.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
As my sister, you would just cover me.
Right.
And so I think all of these classes, I'm really excited. I am really excited because
Mm.
we need to be free on a different level.
Mhm.
We think we're doing something now. God has so much more for us, but we've got to let it go. We got to get the help. We got to, we've got to have these
Mhm.
necessary things to be able to move forward. So that's what I thought about when I thought about the covering. I
Ooh.
need somebody to beg. Don't even look at my shamefulness.
Mhm.
Just cover me. Now,
Just
does
cover
that
me.
mean don't tell me when I'm wrong?
No.
That
Right.
doesn't mean that. Because a part of covering, like
Right.
you said, Pastor, I've been under pastors for a very long time. For the pastors that I'm currently under, my true spiritual parents. We
Mhm.
change spiritual parents like now, like we change shoes or
Mhm.
underclothes when they make us mad.
Right.
You know, I've been there, and they had to say, hey, hold up, this is not it right now, or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
Those are the things that saved me, probably.
Ooh.
Being covered,
Mhm. Yep.
it's important to be covered
Absolutely. And
by
I
your
think for the
sisters,
right
your
covering,
friends. By the right
by
covering.
the right covering,
Absolutely.
by
Yes.
the right covering.
Yes.
Because in Ezekiel, it talks about God is pretty much giving kind of giving an overview and a sentence to Satan. And he talks about, you, the covering cherub, you were covered with
Mm.
all of the beautiful gems,
Yes.
Mhm.
and you lost your place, but you were the covering cherub. So he was a cherub who knew how to cover. And so often, sometimes, just because someone's willing to cover us does not mean that they are the covering for us, because the enemy clearly knew how to cover, because he was called the covering cherub. And so it's not enough for someone to just say, hey, I just want someone to cover me. Who do you, like you said, Prophetess Tiffany, um, who is this person? Like, before you just jump up and say, this, you have a great network, I think that you can help me. You don't know their name, you don't know where they come from, you don't know their background, you don't know you don't know anything about them. And just because they look flashy, because that's exactly what God said about Satan, you were covered with all of the beautiful gems. So just because that person may look great, they may appear to be, I don't know, something great, or have a great name, and their outer appearance then will make us mesmerized
Sure.
and give us a false appearance. And then we will then open ourselves up to the wrong covering, someone with the wrong motives, who may be willing to do so. But again, we have got to make sure that we are able to pour from a clean vessel. So making sure we have a clean covering, someone who will lead us into the presence, into the altar of God, until we get into, again, that most holy of holies, someone who's pouring us and calling us into that covering place. Can I see God in you? Can I rest in you? Can my soul rest? Am I safe with you?
Yeah.
All those things. And so I am truly excited. I don't think that this made it any easier whatsoever. I am mad because I want to be in both, because I need both.
I'm running back and forth. I'm
I'm
sorry.
just, listen,
But when you see me running your class, just be like,
just running to and fro. But I'm grateful that you said that. I want women to feel safe. But I'm going to give you two the last say before we close it out. Prophetess Tiffany, you go, and then Minister Carmika.
Well, again, I just want to say thank you. I am excited about what God is going to do, not just in the lives of the women, but in our lives too. I was listening to somebody earlier today. I don't even remember. I had the YouTube on, and one of the things he said was, a lot of times when we teach, we also learn. And so I'm grateful to be able to first be a student to learn, and then be able to teach. But as you were talking, Pastor Kelly, I really thought about Pastor Hansen, which I love, and will always be my mentor. And one of the things she said to me was, protect your influence. And protect your influence and protect my influence.
Yes.
Because people will attach to you, like you said, because it's shiny, it looks good, your network. People are calling you, people see you in a certain limelight. And before you know it, they will uncover you.
Oh, that's so
Instead
good.
of covering you. So you have to make sure that you protect your influence, what God has given you, the portion of ministry that God has allowed you to have access to, especially if you are working with any sort of leader. And so I want to stress that in this class, protect their influence and protect your influence as well. And again, I'm excited about what God is going to do on this weekend.
Minister Carmika, you got
absolutely. I'm running back and forth to the class, I'm telling you. But what I would leave is this let it go piece. We have the time to do and become most of what we want. We just spend it on the wrong things. You've been hanging out with Bobo for 4 years. You could have had the degree that you wanted. You could have written the book that you wanted. And so my hope is that through some of the scenarios and through some of the deliverance and through some of the talking that we'll do during Let It Go, is that people will do exactly that and make room
That's so
for
good.
what God wants to do now in the earth. It is no mistake that we have a woman at the forefront getting ready to be the president of
Oh,
the United States.
oh, that's good.
This is the time of the woman.
Mm, that's
And
good.
we've got to, like you said, we can't be polluted vessels
Hmm. Oh, that's so good.
because we have so much stuff. Again, we've got so much stuff that we're holding on to, where we're holding on to people and keeping everybody else's stuff together. But sister girl, get yours together.
Hmm.
Because God wants to use you and he needs a clean vessel to do that. And I'm talking to what I'm excited about is that, I mean, there may be some lay people that everybody can use this, right? But
Hmm.
I'm excited about our leaders getting what they need too. Because please don't think because I got this microphone and like I said, 2 licenses over here on this, that please don't think that I don't have no issues or no challenges.
Right.
Right.
I do. And so as much as I'm preaching, let it go, I'm ministering to myself. And so that is what I hope the takeaway is, that so that we can, let go and empty out and become covered by one another.
That is so good.
As sisters, we need each other.
Whew.
We cover each other, and even in our worst times. So if we get snotty and on the floor, to let it go,
That's it.
then that's what we got to do.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Y'all might see me ugly this weekend.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
try to be cute, but you might see me ugly.
Yes.
Just grab the sheet and just cover me until I can get it together.
Get
But
it
that's
together.
the truth of the matter. We gotta be able to empty out these spaces so God can fill us with the more of Him. That's my hope for this weekend.
My heart is like so full. It's really full. And yeah, it's just really, really full. So I'm just extremely thankful. Um, yeah, it's just really full right now. You all have really made me full. Everyone has really made me full. This conversation tonight kind of brought it full circle. You know how God gives you something and you're like, oh, I think I get it. Okay, okay, okay. But when it's kind of brought full circle and you have the opportunity to see the full hand of God, and why He called it initially,
Yeah.
for something greater. So I thank you all so very much. For those of you all who have not registered, um, I would admonish you to register. If nothing else, to be in this incubated place
Yes,
of
yes,
safety. You need the pour of these. You need a safe place
yes.
to be naked and unashamed. And so I wish I was close. I need classes like you. Oh my God. Karen, I promise you, you do. Here's one of the things that I don't even know how far away are you? I don't know how far away you are, but I would really hope that listen, that you could. And one of the things that I am thinking about is, now that this is a 501c3, how I can bring it to other cities, states, and things like that.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
yeah. So if you have not, I would recommend you absolutely being in the place and being there so that you can find out, assess where you are now, so that you can then know where you need to be. Um, and if I were you, I would go, these women of God are powerful. Hi, Jonathan. You would come on here to see your spiritual mother. Um, and you hadn't reached out to me to let me know anything. You probably think you slick anyway, but I still love you. But um, I am just really, really thankful. I need it, I need it. I
Yeah,
need all of this. And I am grateful for the two of you. I am grateful for the poor. I'm grateful for your yes. And I am thankful for what God is going to do on this weekend. So yeah, and I'm gonna look some kind of horrible. I just That's okay. I may not be any good by the end. I'm going to cry
Right.
myself into dehydration.
Make sure I can find my glasses when I get up because I'm not
Listen,
going to do
I need
nothing.
a whole IV.
Please.
Somebody just wouldn't just give me an IV. I'm just gonna need it. But if we're better for it,
Yes.
Yes.
then I'm grateful. Um, mm, I'm grateful because we can be at the outer courts doing stuff so much, washing and sacrificing, when we have not gone into the covering and gone into the most holy place to be in His presence, and we can stay on the outer courts so long doing, instead of getting into the inner court where the covering is and allowing Him to allow us just to be, not to do, but
Yeah.
to be. And maybe that I'm grateful, and hopefully that's my prayer, that this weekend, the women who come, you don't have to do anything, but this is an unctioning of God to bring you closer so that you can be covered. So I love you all. Again, if you haven't registered, I would highly recommend that you register. If you have registered but you have not chosen your breakout sessions, you need to go ahead and do that immediately. Why? Because these facilitators are praying. They have already started praying. Their names, the names of those who have already registered, have been sent to each facilitator, and believe you me, they are calling your names out so that the pour can be personalized to you. So you need to do it ASAP. I am also, if you have not yet ever been on Prophetess Tiffany's Tuesday prayer calls at 5 a.m., let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Let me Oh God, listen, you owe it to yourself. No, really, like you really, really do. You owe it to yourself. Probably after she gets off this call, she's gonna go in that room and she's gonna be before God. I don't think that she ever sleeps on Monday because she is up and she is listening. And I promise you, you need to be on that prayer call to hear what God is saying, because she has sacrificed her sleep so that she can hear and so that she can pray effectively for each and every person. I'm telling you, it is nothing like it. There are men and women, and then when she opens the line and everybody's praying at the same time, dear God, my prayer room was right underneath my oldest, and I'm telling you, I know he probably wakes up because I am going in down here. Do you hear me? Oh, all the sounds. Anyway, listen, it will draw you at. Oh, yeah. So if you are a person who loves prayer, like the sound of prayer, the aroma of prayer, the currents of prayer, whoo, you owe it to yourself. So, and Minister Carmika, I love you. I thank you. It's so good to see you, and I'm just excited for this weekend. Um, I want everyone to have a wonderful night. 3 days. 3 days. We got 3 days. 2.5. And we will be ready. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and I will see you all 3 days. Yep. Love you all.
Love
Bye.
you.
Night.
Bye.